Chapter 14. The bright moon slowly arises over their heads as they press farther south. With each step, the terrain changes. The trees dwindle, the wild shrubs shrink, and the grass grows thin. They slow down as ahead lies a sheet of sand that extends far beyond the horizon. No life of plants or animals lies beyond the distance, only the sound of civilization nearby. They readjust their eyes to the sand's border to find a town full of light. Some are produced from signs, while others from the sconces on the smooth concrete buildings. "I guess that's Asham," Isamu commented, mesmerized by its draw. "Finally," Hotaru sighed. "Hopefully the key is in there." She remembers on occasion Alihan having festivals with similar inviting lights. In her youth, she never got close. However, she was told by many of her peers that such events were for adults. From the conversations she heard at Skyfell Tower, this town is most likely catered to the adult nightlife. But while on the mind, she wonders what Alihan had to offer. No one in town seemed fit for what that bandit was describing. They continue their trek to the entrance of town. As they close in, the sound of faint music pulls them closer. People can be heard shouting about pricing further inside, with dozens of foreigners funneling into the narrow street like a herd of sheep. As the noise gets louder, many of them speaking of a show. It's hard to think of how anyone in this town sleeps. A large man in a lavish suit greets them at the entrance with a joyous smile. He readjusts his bow tie, and next to that is a black name tag, which is unreadable due to its age. His smile is bright, though from his wrinkles and bunches of gray hair, he appears beyond what are normal levels of stress. "Welcome to Asham, travelers. What brings you here on this lovely evening? I sure hope our famous theater has caught your attention from wherever you hail from. Our show is about to start, presenting the greatest belly dancers in the world. It's a must-see for any wanderer." "I think we're good," Hotaru answered, Isamu's jaw retracting back to its original position. "You wouldn't happen to know where to find a magic key, would you?" He flinches. "Magic key? Sometimes I call the key to my house that." For once, the silence returned, but only briefly. "Never mind. We will look around ourselves." "Hold a moment," he desperately cried. "I know that our beloved Lena has gone missing, and we have been searching everywhere for her. But our new dancer is top-notch, and our security has been improved so that nothing of the past happens again." They stare blankly at him, as if he was speaking an unknown language, before finally moving forward. "I hope for his sake that he gets some rest," Hotaru thought. "Hope to see you guys at the show," he spouts with confidence. Back on his feet, Hotaru and the others make their way to the lobby of town, passing through the cluttered hallway. Along the way are many vendors with displays full of expensive jewels, exquisite fabrics, high-end weapons, and armor. With each step, the store owners shout as they pass by, yelling out their low prices or high quality. Some even spray perfumes or wave them over a sample of fresh produce. They bump shoulder to shoulder with people standing at the stalls of vendors. Each inconvenience has them profusely apologizing, though many of the people are drunk, shouting slurred obscenities at their error. The large amount of people have them sweating, even in the dead of night. The crowded and hot hallway, fitting of a torture device, finally opens up to a large fountain of clean water with gold coins at the bottom surrounded by paved stone. Unlike every town before, every large attraction is in a corner. Starting at the bottom right, from which they came, is the hallway of vendors, and circling around like a clock is the theater the man spoke of. Several patrons march in through its bright doors, and the faint music echoes out from within. Next is a bland inn, with dozens of horses stabled at the side of it. And last is another entrance into town for large cargo, as there are dozens of boxes and barrels piled along the wall. Where do we even begin? Aziza queried, fanning herself with her leather cloak. Isamu takes his attention away from the inviting light of the theater. I already know where this is going. Maybe it's best if we split up and ask around, he said. Last time we split up, you got into a fight with the king, Hotaru scolded. The moment I take my eyes off you, I know you're gonna make a beeline to the theater. But this time it's for a good reason. There are so many people in that place. There's bound to be someone who knows of this key's whereabouts. He may be onto something, Hotaru, Fidir added. Fine, but you have to keep an eye on him, and you two better not make any trouble. Isamu claps his hands. Yes! Let's go, Fidir. Good luck, you two, Fidir said, before being dragged away against his will. That leaves us then again. Any idea where to start? Hotaru asked, and Aziza ponders by glancing around. Perhaps one of the vendors might know of it. I enjoyed this time while I had it. I don't really want to go back there, but it is a start. The entrance to the theater invites them in like a baited lure. The aromatic smell of incense distracts their nose, while the beautiful light of the large, glossy stage draws their eyes. Dozens of ill wooden stools are placed before the stage, with dozens of patrons cheering with alcoholic drinks at the red curtain. A beautiful waitress in a fancy suit and a tray goes around placing orders for drinks. Finally, it was time for Isamu to partake in adult life. Long he has waited for his chance, and since turning 18 only a few months ago, the city of drink, dance, and beauty have never been more perfect as a start. Fidir and Isamu take a seat at the nearest ill stool, lightly pressing their weight on it to avoid it crashing. So how do we go about asking around? Isamu keeps his eyes glued to the shining stage, ignoring Fidir's words as the faint music grows. I wonder what I should order. I hope the show starts soon, he pondered, completely ignorant to the world around him. You know what? Never mind. You enjoy your show, and this time I will lead. With a pat on the shoulder, Fidir takes his leave to the bar. Isamu takes a deep breath, crossing his hands behind his head. He patiently watches the curtain, imagining the beautiful women that await him. The imagination of it all is the most exciting as he pictures them. Only the brief description of the bandit from the tower fills his ears. In fact, his voice feels more present than ever before. I'm glad you decided to come. I promise you the show is going to be worth it. Like an anvil weighing him down, Isamu holds still as a heavy man takes a seat behind him. They are only a few inches behind him, their hot breath reeking of alcohol. He focuses his senses on the stage, hoping now the show will begin so a distraction for his escape can be plausible. The tension of slightly turning to reveal his face has him scared of making this night a nightmare instead of a joyous, memorable experience. There are more things at hand, you idiot, a regal voice sounded, piercing through the exciting music. Hey, watch your tone. I've been kicked out of here before, and it's not easy to get back in. Just take a seat and explain to me again what happened. A seat nearby squeaks, their voices louder than before, even though they whisper. From how direct their talk is, it's like Isamu has become part of the conversation. It's about the boss and the crown. Let me guess, it wasn't the crown. You know, just because it was shiny doesn't mean it was the sunstone. You're the one who said... Isamu hears and feels a deep exhale from behind that trickles down his back like a mist. The high-strung bandit returns to a murmur. Never mind that. More importantly, the crown has been recovered. We were attacked by these kids, and they were unlike anyone we have faced before. I'm also guessing that's why you have that massive bump on your forehead? Yes, but more importantly, the boss lost as well. Only some of us managed to return to our cave. But when he arrived, he had large bruises as black as night, and he didn't want them mentioned. I'm guessing they really put a number on him. That sucks. However, I'm glad I wasn't there. But what does this have to do with me? The boss has a new lead on the Sunstone. Supposedly a man in Baharata knows of its location. The lights around the audience dims, and the tame music stops. Finally, Isamu thanked in his head, with his mind racing for an escape plan. Both chairs behind him squeak again, and their hot breath weakens. Lay back, old chum. The show's about to start. We can talk more later. A giant spotlight shines onto the stage, and the drums, flute, and stringed instruments ease in. The red curtain opens slowly, and the audience gasps. 3 women step up the stage, one up front, while 2 are slightly behind by her side. The music ramps up, and they dance. The gold and tan woman up front leads while the other 2 follow. Their glittering pink hair sparkles and flows as they sway their slender hips. Along with the music, their silver jewelry on their wrists and ankles jingle gently in the air. The dancers behind are slightly covered in a purple veil, while the stunning woman up front is dressed in alluring, smoke-like makeup that enhances her topaz eyes, adorning a glimmering headdress like a peacock's feather. The only other colors are her purple lustful bra and flowing orange loincloth, which barely covers her white and pure undergarments. Her thin, smooth belly sways like ripples in water, drawing their eyes like a hypnotic spell. Her seductive smile, intoxicating. Her beautiful allure and movement has the audience captivated. All eyes are on her as she steps forward on stage, each hip sway drawing their eyes closer. "I love you, Vashti!" the bandit from behind yelled. Isamu released from his trance. As the bandit rises from behind, cheering his heart out, Isamu's mind gets moving. Now is my chance. While he is invested in the show, he's more distracted by the man and afraid of getting caught. He stands up and sidles past them. A hand taps his shoulder. "Hey, while you're up, mind grabbing that waitress's attention? I'm dying of thirst over here," the deep-voiced bandit asks. He flinches to his touch and freezes for a brief moment, but knows his cover will be blown if he stands around. He forces out a deep response with what little confidence he had. "No problem." He picks up the pace towards the bar where Fidir sits, listening to the barkeep. Fidir looks ready to fall over from boredom as the barkeep appears to be rambling on as he cleans the pristine glass. Vashti is indeed a beautiful lady, but easily not our best. I mean, if you saw Lena on stage, she would have had you wrapped around her finger, churchling. Her beauty is said to rival that of the Queen of Isis. Hell, she probably is the queen, hence why we haven't seen her in so long. "We gotta go," Isamu stammered out, filling Fidir with some semblance of hope. "Did you find the key?" "No, but if we don't hurry we will get in trouble again, and it will be far worse. Now I know it's serious." "Alright, let's hurry." The barkeep reaches out his hand as they leave. "Hey! I wasn't done talking to you." Aziza and Hotaru head back to the loud den of vendors. Aziza has her cloak tied to her belt at her waist to avoid the terrible heat, revealing her sweaty black shirt with several small pockets and sheaths to keep weapons and trinkets. She never cared for feverish weather and enjoyed spending her time out at night, enjoying the sight and quiet sounds of the moon and stars. When she first arrived at the desert's border, she was stunned by its calm sandy hills and its vast clear sky. From what little she remembers of her parents, the desert was where they found each other. One large vendor grabs her attention as they enter, drawn in by his drastic hand motions. "I got myself here a holy spear, said to be used by the goddess's angels, and all for the low price of 10,000 gold. 10,000? That's outrageous for a simple spear," Aziza shouted. 10,000 gold was beyond anything she could imagine. Her family didn't have many funds, and before making friends in Alihan, she spent much of her childhood playing in the forest near her village. She grew to enjoy climbing trees and scaling buildings to get a better look towards the outside of her small home. Most of her fun came from imagination, picturing the boundless world beyond the island she grew up on. "Okay, how about 7,000? The shopkeeper said. "Still too much," she retorted. "You're a hard nut to crack, aren't you? How about 5,000? Aziza shrugs and shakes her head as they continue this bargaining game. "Look, I don't even use a spear. We're actually looking for a magic key. I'll do 3,000, just please." He gets down on his knees. "I need the money. I need the money for my girlfriend's wedding ring. Plus I need to pay rent, or I will be out on the street if I don't make this sale." "Oh, please stop your babbling. You're making all of us here look bad." A small old woman in a brown cloak, covering her small frame, steps from behind the weapons display. She has a scowl on her face that frightens the shopkeeper. "Mother, why do you have to say such things to me? I'm only trying to become a proper businessman." "Because you're trying to swindle some young lasses, you dolt." Her eyes soften, yet her scowl remains as she faces them. "Please excuse my son. He, as well as many people in these streets, will try to upcharge those unaware of this city's customs. But I promise we aren't all like that." "Thanks for the heads up," Hotaru said. "Now back to the matter at hand. You mentioned a magic key. You know about it?" "Not particularly. However, I have been given a gift of foresight for lost items. In fact, it is my service." "You're a fortune teller, then?" "Nonsense. A fortune teller lies by grasping onto straws to sway you into believing fake realities. I help find lost belongings like weapons or wallets, or in your case, a key." "If it's a service, how much do you charge? And how do we know you're not trying to swindle us as well?" Aziza asked. "The first reading is free of charge. How does that sound? That should prove I'm serious about my craft." Aziza ponders for a moment, wondering about her proposal and if her power is true. Can she find them? Many of her pockets contain sweet treats or small throwing knives, while the ones at her waist contain her daggers. However, she reaches into a chest pocket close to her heart to feel a piece of jewelry. The two girls look at each other, then back at her. "Let's do it," Aziza answered. "Excellent! Follow me to the back." They step past the owner and behind the displays. Isolated on the outskirts of town is a purple tent with a ghostly, mystical light shining from within. She steps inside and sits behind a table that holds a large, dark orb. It glows with a magical light. By its side are worn candles that smell of strong, scented wax. "Please have a seat. So this magic key, I will need to learn more about it to better pinpoint its location." They sit down, and Hotaru takes the lead, Aziza still holding the jewelry tight. "It's a key that opens the border to Portugal. Someone from Corv told us that we would find it here." "I see." She lights the candles. She takes her wrinkly hands, placing them softly on the crystal ball. Its light gleams brighter than before. "Yes, I see it." The flaps of the tent rustle, and the ground shakes. The faint fire from the candle flickers. The sands feel as if they are shifting, yet outside the tent's opening is undisturbed land. In a great pyramid, at the altar, it lies. "A great pyramid? Is there one in Asham?" She removes her hand from the orb. Its lights dim, and balance returns. "No. The only known pyramid sits alone in the desert sands to the west. However, one cannot enter without permission from the Queen of Isis." "And where is that?" "At an oasis at the center of the desert. A trip most people avoid, but the fire in your eyes tells me you're determined. Besides the worrisome journey, speaking to the Queen should be easy, as only women are allowed into her castle." "I think we found our lead then. We should tell the others about this." Hotaru rises up from her flimsy stool, but Aziza stays seated, staring into the orb, her broken figure staring back with gloom. "There is one more item I would like you to find." The helpful woman takes a moment to think. "Ask away." There isn't anything that escapes my sight. From the pocket, Aziza pulls out a worn and cracked pendant. It has several dents that prevent it from ever opening again. She holds it close and smiles faintly. It was the final gift they gave her before they parted ways. My father carries a pendant similar to this one. He said if I hold it close to my heart, he would always be near. She glances at the beat-up metal. A family heirloom. Such a request is very costly, you know. That's fine, just as long as you can find it. Hotaru sits back down to comfort Aziza, who is looking deeply into the orb. Again, the old woman places her hands on the sphere. She loudly hums to herself as the orb gleams bright. The tent's flap rustles, and the ground shakes once more, except they intensify. The ground tremors like an earthquake, and the tent rustles as if in the middle of a tornado. The fire from the candle spits large sparks from its wick. Her loud humming comes to a halt, and everything stops. The silence of the earth is deafening. Every second that passes has her quivering in her seat. Did she find them? Are they in trouble? Are they gone? That's strange, she finally muttered. Confusion strikes her face. What did you find? Aziza desperately asked, terrified of her potential following words. I found nothing. No such item exists in this world. Her heart sinks into her stomach. The air and sweat glistening off her body is freezing. She struggles to cobble the words as she breathes and swallows irregularly. What? But how is that possible? I know for certain my father kept it close. I'm sorry. Perhaps it was too much for me. I understand the feelings you have, but you must change perspective. Finding nothing isn't the same as being gone forever. The desert is known to nullify magic as it crosses the world, monsters being an enhancer. Once the monsters are repelled, my sight will grow more clear. Silence fills the room for several seconds as Aziza's mind wanders. How much do I owe you? She flicks her head as she rises from her seat. I don't want your money. Take it and prepare yourself for the trip through the desert. And as an apology, you can pay me once peace has been restored. Aziza lifts from her chair, with Hotaru following behind her. Try not to think much about it, Hotaru said. I'm sure we will naturally learn more as we close in on Baramos. I will try.